Hey folks. So yesterday's post was a big one for me, and you know, it I realized so much after doing that recording and after posting it, after like going online and actually pushing post on that video, because there was something that felt so risky about it, and something that felt so like I was kind of putting my money where my mouth is in a lot of ways, in terms of why I started this whole series of posts and why I decided to do this for a year. And the upshot of yesterday, where I was kind of wrestling with, am I coming to this with answers, or am I coming to this with questions, and with genuinely relevant questions that are actually in my life now, and things that I may not have resolved, and that are actually where where my edge is now, where I'm wrestling, and where I feel like the world is meeting me, and I might experience it as a barrier, and I need a new way of sitting with these challenges in order to break through or to come to a new understanding. And I realized there is a risk in this. There is a risk. There's a risk that I'll talk about my family dynamics, or I'll talk about things that have inhibited me, that might implicate other people in my life whom I love deeply, and there might be discomfort there. And what I recognized is that that's actually fine. That's actually fine. This is not about exhibitionism. I said that in my post yesterday too. It's certainly not about just getting my emotional baggage off my chest onto whoever happens to be watching my post. It's really about, I think the phrase I said yesterday, it's really about finding revelation in the moment, and trusting, knowing that the moment, the now moment, actually always contains that revelation. We have this sense like the problems in our life are somehow, they're problems. They're things we wish were different so that our life could be better. And, there's a sense in which I certainly am well familiar with this feeling of that. I feel like there are flaws in my system. There's flaws. Robin Holloway is somehow deeply flawed. That's the only way the ego can see the world, right? I'm deeply flawed. I'm not infinite. Relative to the infinite, I'm a compendium of flaws, right? And that's, of course, not the perspective of grace, or the perspective of essence, or the perspective of consciousness. From the point of view of consciousness, everything is perfect, everything is oneness, everything is united. But from this ego flip side, which we all spend a fair amount of time in, just inevitably, we live in the world, we walk outside, we have a body, we drive a car, we're dealing with manifest physical, emotional, psychological things. So we're gonna have that feeling of there's a problem here, there's a flaw here. And I've just become, the more I do this, and opening the door yesterday really just only affirmed that, taking a positive approach, and trusting that through allowing something in, and through allowing something out, allowing something to be shared, a new answer would come. It started happening instantly. There's this feeling like, there's a philosopher, and I honestly don't remember his name now, who said this, but there's a fantastic quote, and he said something along the lines of, "Thank God there are some cracks in my philosophy, because that's how the light gets in." And I feel like that's exactly true of being human. Thank God we have these flaws. Thank God we have these ways in which we are not perfect, so that the universe can say, look over here, deal with me, just feel this, and there's this sense in which behind every one of these things, beneath the things we hide from the world, beneath the things that I would not want to go on the internet and say from my ego's point of view, lies this completely new territory, and this completely new moment-to-moment faith of kind of birth into revelation, because I'm willing to sit with these problems and willing to let them out. That's what I was kind of saying yesterday about there's all kinds of stuff I'd way rather not share with other people. There's all kinds of stuff that internally I would be happy to look at it myself and, maybe talk to my therapist or something and keep it all very close to the chest. And that work is totally appropriate and totally important and vital, I would say, for progress. But there's this sense in which there comes a time when you realize I'm hiding something from the world, and I think that probably the main thing making this flaw feel real to me is the fact that I'm not willing to let anybody else see it. I feel like if other people see it, then oh my God, what will they think of me? And so the experience that I'm having right now and what I had yesterday is just like actually the exact opposite was the case. I take this kind of icky part of myself that I would rather not share, and I turn it outward, and instantly there's a kind of grace that enters. And even if there is judgment, it's not the judgment that I expected. Even if it's the judgment that I expected, the judgment that I expected doesn't have the effect on me that I thought it would. So this is just where I am in terms of this post. I'm going through a process of realizing that this is how this works, and this is what my process here is. And it's not about personal stuff. It's not about, on some level it will be about my personal stuff, but ultimately it's not about my personal issues and talking them through. It's ultimately about how are my personal issues access to something greater. And we all share that. Every single human being. The issues are different, but the process is so identical. We all break through by taking what we are given as our impediments, our challenges, our problems, our flaws, and letting the light in through them. So, I'm so grateful for you, for anyone who's listening to this, that you are that for me. You're the light getting in. You're the world with which I'm sharing just these issues, but this process and this ongoing sense of growing faith in the moment, that the moment contains what I need, the moment contains what we need. So again, thank you so much for listening to me. It's a true honor, and I'm gonna keep running with this and see where this goes. It's gonna be exciting. I'm very, very excited about where this is leading me and what this is gonna turn into and the kind of movement that it's gonna potentially create. So I love you all. Good to see you. See you soon.